If you're converting a van and you've ever wondered how many flat whites you can make with the battery in your van, then this is the video for you. My name is Nigel and this is Offgrid Van Life. And what I have in front of me is one of our lithium iron phosphate OPS 280 batteries. So this is a battery that we import the components from China and we manufacture and assemble the battery here in the UK, stock them in the UK to help our customers to avoid those 2-month waits of getting the batteries from China and all of the hassles of wondering whether you're getting good products and reliable stuff out of China. So that's the OPS 280. And here I have your stock standard sort of AGM battery that you get at Halfords and Amazon and all over the place. This is a 92 amp hour 12 volt AGM battery. This battery here, this lithium battery of ours, is a 280 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. Now, just to give you a little bit of background before we jump in and actually make some coffees, this battery, realistically, you can only use 50% of the capacity. So 92 amp hours, realistically, you've got just over 40 usable amp hours of capacity in there. So very little, actually. This battery, 280 amp hours of lithium iron phosphate, realistically, with the settings that we have programmed in this battery, you can realistically get probably 260 amp hours out of it. So you would basically need like 6 or 8 of these to get the same capacity as you do out of this battery. So let's jump in and show you the setup. So positive and negative coming off the OPS 280 into a Victron smart shunt there. So obviously the negative line just goes to the smart shunt, and then that goes to the inverter. So we've got a 3000 watt Guindel inverter. So that's a little bit of overkill. You don't really need that amount. But the smart shunt is basically what we're going to use to actually record how much capacity we've drawn from the battery to make a coffee. And this is what the Victron app looks like. So that is the smart shunt settings. So I've reset it completely and put the correct settings in for this battery. So 280 amp hours. And as you can see there is no capacity drawn from it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn the inverter on, and the smart shunt will automatically start ticking away, counting how much current we've drawn from the battery. And then here behind me, I have my Sage Barista Pro. So this is the coffee machine I use in my house. It is overkill. Most people won't put this in their camper van. Some people will. One day I might, but currently I don't have this set up in my camper van. But I'm using this as a demonstration to show you, if you had either of these setups, how many coffees realistically could you make and pull from this coffee machine. And that'll give you an idea of how much better lithium is versus lead acid, or AGM in this case. So let's turn the inverter on here. Find the button. Saying 14 volts, which is to be expected. And we check the smart shunt over there, and it's starting to show some information. We've got some nominal voltage. The inverter just has a small draw just when it's sitting in standby. And then we're going to do this and actually turn this guy on. So let's see what happens. So just for a bit of technical, so this coffee machine draws 1600 watts. Obviously our inverter is well within capacity for that, but this battery has a draw limit of 150 amps. So this coffee machine running on that inverter will basically be at the limit of that battery. So currently with the coffee machine just sitting here idly, we are drawing just over 1 amp from the battery, which is pretty good. Obviously it's not actually steaming or anything like that, so let's get this coffee going. Okay, so that's now drawing 14 amps, which is to be expected. Obviously it's running little motor for the grinder there. I have never made a coffee in my workshop here, so this is a first. You guys here on YouTube are special guests, and here's hoping that I nail the old latte art for you. Okay, so that inverter has now pumped right up. I can hear the fan going. It's drawing well over 100 amps now. and seems to be doing okay with that. You get some milk ready here. Okay, so we pulled the espresso shot without any problems. Now we're going to try steaming the milk and see what happens with this. So we well over 100 amps draw, probably pulling 120 amps. And the battery is coping no problem whatsoever. All right, let's get this. Okay, not too bad, a little bit shaky, but not too bad for a workshop latte. There you go, hopefully you can see that little art there. I'll set that down over here. All right, so there we have it. Those are the results of the OPS 280 lithium battery. Just quickly put the screen brightness up a bit there. So according to that, we used just over 2 amp hours. So round about, let's call it rounded up 3 amp hours to make that coffee. So pretty good going. 2.4 amp hours consumed so far. So now what we're going to do is we are going to turn the coffee machine off, and then we are going to swap around. So we're going to take these 2 cables off, put them onto this battery, and then we will reset the smart shunt so that we can get the settings correct on the smart shunt, so we can when we go to do the test on this battery, we're starting from 0. So let's get that done now. Okay, so there we have it. So I've just turned this battery slightly so that I could get the cables around. We've got that connected up. We've reset the smart shunt and turned it on there. As you can see, all the settings are down to 0. So now what we can do is we will turn the inverter back on, and that's showing that it's drawing around about 1 amp on that, just to be expected, just the nominal voltage that the inverter draws just on standby. So turn the coffee machine back on, and draws sort of 6 amps thereabouts, just while it starts setting up, etc. Now we're going to make a coffee with the AGM battery. Let's get this going here. There we go. There's the old AGM flat white there, and our lithium flat white over there. There we go. So the results pretty much bang on target there. 2.4 amps per coffee. I'll just turn that off there so it stops drawing. So there we have it. So realistically, 41 amp hours of usable power on this means that you are going to be able to pull probably 18 flat whites on this, and that's assuming you're running nothing else on that battery. So no lights, no USB chargers, nothing, just your coffee machine. 18 flat whites before this battery is completely flat. This battery, obviously 240 or 250 amp hours of usable power. What's that, like 150 odd, or call it 140 flat whites you could pull from this battery without charging it, and that would completely deplete it. So there we have it. It's a demonstration that you can do a very high draw. 150 amps is pulling a lot of power from your battery. So that shows that lead acid or AGM, older style or older chemistries, are capable of that. But the big thing is that they just don't have the same storage as lithium. So if you look at that, they're pretty comparable in size. This is slightly longer, pretty much the same width. This is obviously slightly higher than the AGM. But in terms of size, they're pretty comparable. The biggest thing, obviously, is that this battery is 5 or 6 times the capacity of this. So if you were to put 5 or 6 of these into your van, you'd get the same results as this. Apart from that, the 5 or 6 of these would take longer to charge than your lithium battery. So there you have it. If you were interested in how many flat whites you could make on an AGM battery versus a lithium battery, probably about 18 on this, and probably about 140 on this. So that's pretty much it. As always with our battery videos here on this channel, what we've started doing recently is to offer a discount code for anything on our web store. So if you're interested in an OPS 280 or the components to build out your own DIY lithium battery, check out our store. As I mentioned earlier, we stock all of the components in the UK to save you the trouble of having to wait 2 months to get it from China and dealing with resellers in China that may be trying to trick you and sell you dud products. These are all tried and tested products that we use in our vans every day. So if you're interested in that, there's a discount code. You can use coffee10, all one word. That'll get you 10% discount on the store off any purchase, and that is going to be valid for 10 orders. So the first 10 people to use that code, you can have 10% off. Otherwise, I'm going to enjoy this coffee because it has the best latte art. Probably, if you want good latte art, then AGM is the way to go. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. I need to put one of those in my van for sure. Definitely need one of those. Yeah, can confirm. It's good.